Hello, everyone. How's it going? I apologize. I do not have a camera tonight. I'm operating in kind of a strange capacity this week, and I hope that my internet is not acting really crazy in a way that won't allow me to stream effectively. But I am actually without regular internet. Some repairs were being done on the outside of our house and our lawn, and they cut the internet. And so I'm operating off of a hotspot on my phone. And so we're going to see how well this is going to work. I know there's going to be some stuttering probably at some point, possibly if I load in something, or especially when I click to load the riddle that I'm working on today. So I apologize if the quality is a little crappy. Hopefully it won't be too bad. But it's pretty good, I think, for a hotspot off of my phone, operating on my data. Um, so let's get started because I have a feeling this is going to take me longer than the last time. I have a feeling. I don't even know. So this last week I did the puzzle for the first puzzle that was included in the as part of the Frosthaven Kickstarter. I have a feeling that since the Kickstarter is still going on, the puzzles are going to last for another 9 days. I think probably 30 days of puzzles or 31 days of puzzles till the end of the month and the end of the Kickstarter, which is now up to $8,330,000. Pretty crazy. Yeah, I need to get my camera. I'll have my camera back up because I had to plug in my one of my few remaining USB slots is now taken by the Wi-Fi I had to plug in for my PC to be able to handle the hotspot wirelessly. So won't have a camera this week. I apologize. Um, yeah, last week I did the banner. I actually admitted on stream I did look at the riddle ahead of time and try to figure it out a little bit, think about it a little bit before I jumped on. I did not look at the solution video until after I had completed it and did the show. That night I went ahead and checked out the video. Isaac's got one for each of the puzzles. You can watch his video on how he solves it. And I actually got the same solution. It didn't look like, as far as I know, there weren't multiple solutions. So I got the exact one. Thankfully, it was pretty limited. I think it was a good starting riddle because it didn't really have a lot of options if you really thought about how much damage you'd have to do every turn and what the banner spear was capable of. But definitely, also the best thing about it, I think, and I think I've talked to other people that the puzzles provide a really good introduction to the characters, and so we got a really good look at the kind of cool, crazy things that the banner spear is going to be doing. Today, we're going to be looking at riddle two, so I'm going to go ahead and load that. Maybe. Okay, I think that's it. Um, so today, obviously, each of these puzzles is probably going to cover a different character, and the games that are covered are not just the characters that are coming out in the upcoming Frosthaven expansion, but there's even another expansion that's coming out before Frosthaven. Even though the Frosthaven Kickstarter is big news right now, there is a published expansion, sort of expansion, not really, that's coming out called Jaws of the Lion, Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion, and it is kind of a side story a little bit. It basically is a way that it was designed as a way to get people playing Gloomhaven in kind of an easier format. And there's even a step-by-step kind of tutorial mode where you play a scenario, you learn a little bit, and then you move on to the next scenario, that kind of thing. And so it's really cool in terms of doing a good job of showing how if you have a kind of a high, because the game has such a high learning curve in some ways, this would be a great entry level expansion. But it also does introduce a bunch of new characters uh, that you can easily play in Gloomhaven or Frosthaven as basic characters. So there's going to be like 18 characters to choose from once Frosthaven finally comes out. Because you can use the Gloomhaven characters in Frosthaven as well, which is pretty amazing. So there's going to be a lot of character choices, which is great. Not that six is bad; six is really good for a starting game, but and of course that doesn't even count all the ones you're going to unlock throughout the course of the game. Um, but it's pretty amazing when you consider everything that is available as far as characters. Today we're going to be looking at a new character. This is also a character who is featured in Frosthaven, and we're talking about the Deathwalker today. Has a starting hit points of 6 and can hold 11 cards. Probably with that starting hit points, it's going to be less of a damage, more of a damage dealer, less of a or at least not a tank. Let's put it that way. So probably on the back lines of the combat, the Valroth, which is a character that you encounter in the beginning of Gloomhaven campaign, but not once. She's kind of I don't want to spoil anything, but she's kind of either as part of it, but you don't. As far as I know, I've not unlocked anything or what I have unlocked, I won't spoil. But I definitely haven't seen any Valroth, which is interesting. I'm wondering if there are the others in the game. But this is a Deathwalker. No race is more ill-suited for the northern climates than the Valroth, who make their homes in the far to the south in the Red Desert. There was once a great war in that region as humans fought back against the Valroth's northern expansions. The two races have since made peace, and the Valroths in particular have forsaken their barbaric, bloody ways. In more recent times, they have focused on economic strength. Saying among the Valroth, in order to survive the cold, one must have a cold soul. This is apt for a Deathwalker, a nomad bent on atoning for the Valroth's past sins by ensuring that the souls of the dead find rest. Wherever great tragedy falls, a Deathwalker is usually not far behind, and their presence in Frosthaven does not bode well for the struggling outpost. Ooh, so they foresee a lot of death coming up. Um, Nothing else in particular to note other than the starting, obviously, hand of cards, which I'll have less of, obviously, for the puzzle, and hit points of 6. I probably am starting with less. Yeah, 5, looks like. Apparently there are a few special rules to take note of when playing the Deathwalker, who can generate shadow tokens on the board. So this looks like it's similar to the Diviner, who can summon rifts on the board. Apparently there are shadow tokens that the Deathwalker can generate. The Deathwalker can have a maximum of 5 shadow tokens on the board, with a maximum of 1 in any given hex. Okay. If the Deathwalker were to place a 6th token, she may remove one of her other shadow tokens to do so. If the Deathwalker were to place a shadow token in a hex, excuse me, I had to sneeze. Okay. If the Deathwalker were to place a shadow token in a hex that already has a token, she places nothing instead. When moving a shadow token, they cannot move into or through walls, but otherwise can enter any other type of hex without hindrance. A shadow token may share a hex with any other overlay tile or figure, and a hex with only a shadow token in it is still considered empty. Okay, shadows never turn hexes into negative hexes for purposes of monster movement. Okay. If a shadow token is removed during any part of an action, then any subsequent attacks, moves, or other abilities must be performed if the shadow token were not there. Okay. Figures in the same hex as a shadow token are not valid targets when performing an attack as if you were occupying the hex with a shadow token. Figures in the same hex as shadow token are not valid targets when performing an attack as if you were occupying the hex with a shadow token. Oh, okay. So I'm assuming I can attack from shadow tokens, but if there's an enemy on the hex with the shadow token, I cannot count that as a valid attack. All right. Okay, so let's take a look at the puzzle. Now that we've taken a look at the character, it looks like, and we'll take a look at the character ability cards here in just a second. Let's take a look at the puzzle just to kind of get an idea before we take a look at the character cards. So we've got a setup here with 2 table obstacles, or I guess shelf obstacles, bookcase obstacles. We've got living spirits, spirit, and then a living doom, which I think is a new creature for Frosthaven. Living doom, I think I remember seeing that on a preview. Pretty amazing looking, terrifying, of course, as well. But they have there's living doom and living spirits. They're set up in a way that looks like very close quarters for sure. There's obstacles below me. Apparently I can't count the hexes behind me as movable terrain. So that'll be tough, just like the puzzle here has a limited amount of space. So that's got to be a problem. I've got 4 cards, and my overall goal is survive 4 rounds. Hey, Laura, how's it going? So Joe, hopefully when I talked about the shadow tokens just a little bit ago, that's what they do. I think when I go over the hero cards, I think we'll kind of go into that a little bit. But I have a feeling that I can do attacks out of them or something similar. I'll take a look at them in just a second. I've got 5 hit points, and it looks like I'm also poisoned. So that sucks. I am poisoned. And so, yeah, my character has a poison icon. And so that means if I do any healing, I only have 5 hit points to start with. If I do any healing, it's only going to remove the poison token, not heal me. So I'd have to wait for subsequent heals to heal me more. Looks like we've got a living spirit, and we know its next 4 attacks or next 4 round abilities. What's going to happen? And I know that it has a shield 2, and every other stat is 2 hit points, 2 movement, 2 attack, and 2 range. So it does fire at range, which really sucks. The Living Doom doesn't fire at range. It's a melee character, but it looks like it's going to summon some more stuff in the room, which is great. Character and monster attack modifier cards are considered to be +0, so that makes it easier to predict what's going to happen. So this seems different than the last one where I just have to kill and figure out how to math up my hit points. I actually have to survive and not take damage for 4 rounds. All right. Well, I can take damage. I just can't die. Let's put it that way. Okay, so let's take a look at the cards that we have available. I'm going to sort my hand. Yeah, no problem, right? Easy, easy. Okay, so first card is 14, Initiative. It is an attack 2, range 2. I can remove any number of shadows within range 2 of myself. For every shadow I remove, add +2 attack, +1 range, and gain 1 XP. For each shadow removed, add +2 attack. Okay, so apparently I'm exploding the shadows and giving myself extra attack and extra range with them, which is pretty good considering these guys have shields. Both Dooms and Spirits have shields, so I'll need to pump up that damage. The bottom half of the card causes a wound and targets all enemies occupying a hex with a shadow. Okay, so if I can get living spirits on shadow hexes or shadow tokens, I can blow them up and cause damage if I use the bottom half of 14. Any enemy who moves into a hex with a shadow this round gains a wound, and then this lasts till the end of the round. Okay, so wounds are going to be interesting in this scenario because these guys only have 2 hit points, so I could easily take them out in a couple of rounds with some simple wounds, and I don't even really need to do much other than get them on top of my shadow tokens. Forceful Spirits. It's an attack 2, range 2, so I look like I'm a pretty strong ranged character. I can target 2 and push them away. And the board, yeah. Okay, so that's the top half. The bottom half is teleport to a hex with a shadow or adjacent to a shadow. Okay, so I can move myself around. I can do things, attacks, pump up my range, and attacks with shadows. There's a lot of usefulness of shadows. Okay, so here's where we get the shadow tokens. Eclipse, an 86 initiative card, lets me place 2 shadow tokens in hexes within range 3. I can summon darkness and gain an XP, so that seems like a legitimate combo with the Forceful Spirits right after that, or the turn after that anyway. Summon Shadow Beast. This summon must be placed in a hex with a shadow, then remove the shadow. So I can also use shadow tokens to generate creatures, summon creatures, but it does consume the shadow. Interesting. It has a hit point. It does 2 damage. It's not ranged, but it does move 3, so it's a very fast creature. Doesn't survive very long, but can definitely do some hits. Then finally, teleport to a hex with a shadow. You may remove the shadow in your hex to perform loot 1 and gain 1 XP. Okay, so that doesn't seem as important. Looting, and although teleporting might be useful. So it would seem the idea is knowing that, let's see, the Living Doom is going to use Face of Darkness. Its first round, which lets it move -1, so it can move faces. So I'm a little bit. I feel like the Living Doom is going to be a little bit easier to control because he does attack melee. He doesn't necessarily move a ton. He does move pretty fast, but this first round anyway, I don't have to worry about him moving quite as much. He's only going to move 2 spaces, so 1, 2. So I can stay right where I am and be out of his range of attack if I can just stay in this part of the room right here. So let's say this first round, the living spirits do move and they fly? That's a good question. They do fly. Yeah, I thought so. They do fly, so this guy can easily fly over the bookcase. So I've got to do something because they are going to attack -1 and muddle me. So the attack is only going to be 1, which isn't really a huge deal, taking 2 hits. But the problem is I don't necessarily want to be muddled. Um, and I also kind of want to. Okay, so I'm kind of thinking. By the way, I'm going to. I just thought of this. I'm going to copy. Let's see how this works. I'm going to copy the image that's on my puzzle sheet here in case anybody in the chat wants to try to solve it. Let's see if this actually works. It does. So if any of you want to click on that link, you can open up the puzzle page yourself. I may need some advice at some point. So puzzle page will let you look at everything on the puzzle, show you the cards I have available, what's coming up enemy-wise, and then you could also keep me honest, help me watch out for stuff. Okay. So I'm thinking, because I don't have to worry about the Living Doom coming up and hitting me with his +1 attack, which would actually be 5 damage. I'm thinking that I'm going to go ahead and get I'm going to do some flitting around with my shadows here. I'm not really worried about the living spirits, and maybe I'm not really worried about being muddled right away. So what I think I'm going to try to do, just to see if this tests out, I am going to bring some shadow tokens out with Eclipse, and then I'm going to go before the living spirits go. I have to, because I'm going to try to get them some of these wounds with this delicious Anger of the Dead wounding. And I noticed that in reading this card, it does not consume the shadows, so they'll stay available for future rounds as well, which is kind of nice. Okay, so I'm going to do this for my first round. So I am first in initiative. So the first thing I'm doing is obviously playing the top of Eclipse. Place 2 shadow tokens in hexes within range 3. Okay. So I guess we'll go in order. Place 2 shadow tokens in hexes within range 3. So we got these shadow tokens up here. I like how they're summon tokens with some art placed on top of them. I am going to place them. So this is within range 3. 1, 2, 3. And I like the idea of having one on either side of this bookcase because the Living Doom is going to march toward me. And then I'm hoping in a future turn I can zip back up north and kind of keep him running in circles, hopefully. The second shadow token I'm going to place here. Ugh. Oh, my lift on my token is so high that I keep knocking stuff over. Okay, so let's make my lift a little lower. Okay, there's my shadow token. There's a living spirit. It also infuses darkness. Oh, I got to bring in an elemental board. Fuses darkness, so darkness has been created. Oh, I guess I should be doing rounds, right? I don't really want to do that. That's okay. I'll try to remember to wane the stuff. So this is my first round, and this is just both of these are going in my discard pile, but I'm going to keep them up here as a record of what I played. I did get an XP. Give myself an XP. Oh, I'm probably player 1, aren't I? Am I player 3? Interesting. I guess it doesn't really matter, but I've got 1 XP. Okay, so that's the top. Oh, I do lose this card. When I place shadow tokens, I lose the card. Surely, though, there's I mean, this has to be the first thing you do, right? Okay, so let's think about this. If I lose a card now, I'm down to 3. I play 2 more next round. That's round 2. If I short rest, I get 2 back, which gives me 2 for round 3. The other 2, short rest. I get 2 back. I'm on round 3. Holy cow, I'm going to run out of cards and become exhausted. I did not realize that was a lost card. So according to the instructions, so this is round 1. Round 2, I'll play my other cards. Round 3, I'll have, but I lose this card, so I'll have 3 cards. I short rest, and I lose 1, so then I'm down to 2. It's interesting. So if I have 4 cards and I short rest after 2 rounds, I've got 3 cards left. And I have to short rest after that very next round to have 2 cards left. So the strange thing is it doesn't seem like I can afford to lose a card, which is odd. So I may have to take this back, which sucks. It's odd that they would give you all these shadow token powers, and then I really can't play the shadow token card until like maybe the last round or something. And there are a lot of things that I have to have shadow tokens for. Well, okay, so I guess there is another option. I'm going to keep doing what I was doing, even though it's going to lose me. So there is one other option I have, is that last round I can do a long rest and then just take whatever comes at me. So let's see if this works. Okay, so I did play the shadow tokens, and I am going to lose that. So that's going to come over here on this side. So I did. So now that I've completed this very long first round for myself, I'm going to do the bottom half of Anger of the Dead, to give a wound to all enemies occupying a hex with shadow, and any enemy who moves into a hex with a shadow this round gains a wound. So my 2 living spirit friends are definitely going to gain a wound each. And if I get lucky and anybody else moves into a shadow this round, they also get a wound. But I don't think that's going to happen. Okay, so first we have the um, living spirits going. They are going to move -1. So we start off with number 4. Oh, this is nice. He's actually only going to be able to move. So first he takes a damage. Oh, these guys don't have damage. The damage arrows are gone. So we'll take him down to 1. And he moves -1. So he's actually going to move only 1 space. So we'll move him here. And then he can do his attack because he is range 2. So he can hit me. It's an attack -1. So it's only going to do 1 damage. Oh, it actually does 2 because of the poison. Whew. Taking a lot of damage here already. And then the other living spirit is going to take a damage. Oh, there's the damage. It's on the bottom of there. I've only played this mod like 500 million times, so you'd think I'd remember that the plus and minus keys provide the damage there. And so, oh, and then the attack is going to muddle me as well. So he does another 2 damage to me. And there's really nothing else I can do because summoning the shadow tokens brings out the shadow tokens, but I can't bring out anything like the shadow beast or something like that to protect me, which really sucks. Okay. And I have no heal cards, which is also kind of unfortunate. Okay. Oh, and then the Living Doom moves -1, so he's only going to move 1. Would have been a disarming attack. Let's have him move here. He's kind of covering the hallway there for me. Okay. Teleport tracks with a shadow or adjacent to a shadow. Okay, so I definitely need to use. So it's round 2. These guys are both going very late. They're moving and attacking the living spirits, but the nice thing is they're going to be dead actually because they only have 1 hit point left. And so it doesn't really matter what they do. He, on the other hand, is going to be summoning some living spirits, where X is the living doom's current hit points divided by 5 rounded down. So that's 2. He's going to be summoning in 2 new living spirits, which really sucks because those guys do a lot of damage. But we'll have to worry about that. Worry about that later. Okay, so I am going to try playing these cards. I will be going before them. So no one is going to be moving. So the question is, what do I want to do? I know for sure I want to get out of here. But then the question is, what do I want to do after that? I can't play any more lost cards. I did summon the darkness, so maybe that's the smart play. Oh, this is round 2, so the darkness has waned 1. Oh, okay. Okay. I mean, this seems like a pretty smart thing to do. conceivably, because I'm going to take out hopefully the potential for more living spirits by doing this. So I'm going to start with 90. I'm going to start with Sunless Apparition to use the bottom half just to teleport to a hex with a shadow. And so that lets the Deathwalker teleport up here. You may remove the shadow when you... Oh, but I'm not going to do the second part where I can remove it to loot 1 and gain 1 XP. It is weird, but it's kind of cool considering the fact that you know a lot. You just have to logically kind of figure it out. Um, but yeah, it still makes it hard because I don't know how for sure how I'm going to do this. So I use the bottom half of that to teleport there, and I don't have to worry about these guys really close to me. They're going to be dead. The Doom's not moving, so I should be good. So I'm going to use the top half of Forceful Spirits to attack 2, range 2, target 2, and push 1. Um, so, and then I'm going to consume darkness in order to give myself +1 attack. So I do 3 damage total. That's not a lot. Which he has 2 shields, so it only does 1 damage. But it does round down, right? So I guess I reduced it to, let's see, that's 4.5. Oh wait, it's divided by 5. 9 divided by 5 is 9 divided by 5 is 2.5. Wait, 9 divided by... I don't know why. I'm just not mathing tonight. 9 divided by 5. 1.8? Yeah. Okay, rounded down. So he's only summoning 1 guy. That's what I was trying to that's what I was trying to do. Is lower it. See, even by lowering it by 1 hit point, he's only going to be summoning 1 instead of 2. I'm also going to definitely... Oh, but it's at a range of 2, so I can't hit him. Huh. Well, I can't do that attack, unfortunately. There's a reason why I was hoping to do that attack, because if I only get attacked by 1, I could conceivably summon the Shadow Beast. But I don't even know if I can do that because that's a card that's technically lost. Um, but let's go ahead and just test this out, just to see. I can always move shadows around or something. But the idea is that I at least got away. Maybe if I know that I can't do that attack, I'm going to switch and do the bottom half of Forceful Spirits, which lets me go to to an adjacent place to a shadow. So that at least moves me a little farther away. And this goes to the discard pile. Yeah. And then the top half of Summon Shadow Beast. So should I go ahead and use that then? No, because when I short rest, I'm going to lose a card. So I really can't really do anything. Okay, so this is the end of round... Oh, no, it's not the end of round 2. The living spirits go, but they both take their wounds right at the beginning and die. I'm going to keep them up here because he's going to be summoning 2 guys right back in my face. Just a second. So summon X normal living spirits, where X is the guy's hit points divided by 2. So I'm assuming that's going to put these guys right up here. Okay. All right. So I've made it to round 3. But this is where I'm stuck. So I'm assuming that I still get to pick my lost card when I short rest, which is another thing that's very different in this game. Is it's not hard either. Um, he is moving a lot. All right. So the question is, what do I do at this point? I've got to pick my lost card, and I've got to pick, and basically at the same time, I'm picking my next actions. Darkness wasn't even consumed, but now it's gone. For this third round, I'm not going to have any darkness. So I can either wound some more. No, they would have to go through shadows to be able to do that. These guys have a range of 2, which is not great. This round they are moving -1, so if I can, so that means they're only moving 1. So if I was to move here, and he moved here, I would be out of range of the living spirits. Okay, well, let's see if I can do this. So I've definitely got to keep this card so I can go adjacent to a shadow. And then really, what's going on here? What am I doing? I Pull of the Grave is going to be late. So, but they're both going to go after me unless I don't want them to. He's going to move +1, so he's actually moving at a speed of 4 this round. One, two, three. Whew. So he can basically get me anywhere. 2, 3, 4. Yeah. He can get me anywhere he is. I have this feeling that this card is going to be important. Oh, well, yeah, I can use it right now. So I have to choose to lose this card. Let's see if this works. I choose to lose the Sunless Apparition. I just don't think I can play that. I think I can only play one lost card either, and so I think these cards are kind of cancel each other out in terms of you can use one or the other. The problem is, even if I use Anger of the Dead, which gives me a huge attack, I can do an attack of 6. That's really not doing anything. If I push him, he gets to move 4 spaces. Maybe that's what I've got to do. But the problem is he is... I can't attack and then move. That is the big problem. Because what I thought of doing is possibly attacking him with forceful spirits, which also lets me push him. The and then if I could then move here or here, but the problem is I can't teleport and then attack and then move, and my attack is terrible in terms of range for this push. So then we're right back to summoning a shadow, right? Okay, well then let's try that. Okay, so I'm going first on round 3. Yeah. So I'm going to summon to a hex with a shadow, which will place me out of range of the living spirits. I guess I'm going to summon the shadow beast. And then I have these 2 cards in my discard pile, which lets me long rest. I summon the shadow beast. Whoops. And it has to be summoned on top of a shadow, it says, right? Summon must be placed in a hex with a shadow, then remove the shadow. What if I just stayed up there? Or what if I had teleported here instead of on top of that? I know I'm kind of going back a turn. I'm just trying to figure out. So this card, if I had summoned here instead of, because thought I could do the attack, but now I can't. So I summon here instead. We've still got the shadow token here. See, this might have been useful if I had been able to push him back 1, but I don't seem to be able to do that anywhere. And if I stay up here, this shadow is definitely going to be able to move up and hit me. Whereas moving down here protects me from the living spirits. I just wish he didn't have a move +1, but I know that's part of the puzzle, obviously. But man, it would be nice to not have to worry about that. Because it's just the move +1. Oh, it's an attack -3. Oh, it'll still do a damage. Sad. I have no shielding. Oh, so he can actually move 4. 1, 2, 3, and he can move on top of the So I would actually need to be here. So I think I'm already kind of in a corner with my puzzle here because these guys can attack me up here. Maybe at the end of the last round, when he was summoning them, I needed to push him back one by teleporting here. Or just moving here. Okay, so I'm going to try this one more time. I'm going to go back to the beginning. So I'm here. I've got 5. Got a living spirit, bad guy. Okay. So this first round, I know that because of his movement, he can only move 2. So as long as I don't move to the left. Oh, so he didn't move enough. Maybe that's actually going to help me. 1, 2. Yeah, I don't think I moved him enough. Because see, that actually helps me in the next round. So let's do this over again with my original plan. I am going to do the shadows, and then I am going to wound. So we're going to do the shadows on them for the first round. I think I go first. Yeah. Do that. The shadows take a wound each. Keep that wound handy. Okay. Okay, so I did my 2 actions. This is discarded, that's lost. So living spirits go first. They move -1. Or they take a wound first. And then they move -1. This guy actually is going to move 1 away from me so that he can do a damage to me because he's got range. I think I forgot to do that last time. So that's only going to do 1 hit, but I am poisoned, so it's going to do 2 hits. This guy can only move 1. So he'll move here. And he's 2 away, so he can hit me for 2 also with the poison. Wish I had a way of getting rid of that poison. Okay. So that's the end of that round. This is discarded. I obviously am going to play these 2 cards. So this is the round where these guys are going to die, and he's going to summon, so I literally... Oh, I didn't do his action. He's going to move down 2, and then can't hit anybody. Yeah. So at this point, now is when he's going to be summoning. These guys are going to die, so I kind of don't have to worry about... And he's within 2. Interesting. So now I could have done this attack. We'll see how this works out. Oh, that's a discarded card. So I am going to do my attack to target 2, push 1. I did summon darkness, so I'm going to consume that. And so my attack is actually 3. But that just turns to 1 because of the fact that he's armored for 2. So it only does 1 damage, but I am going to utilize this push to push him 1 space farther away. Hopefully that gives me an advantage. And then that does decrease the summons too, and I think that was an integral part of my plan originally that I thought was fucked up, but it's not. Okay, so now I'm going to summon. What's the top part? Oh, I'm going to teleport to a hex with a shadow. Boom. Why am I putting those in my lost card? They're not lost. Okay, so now my discards. So that was the end of round 2. We're starting round 3 now. This is where these guys are going to do a big attack, but oh wait, I didn't do their actions yet. Round 2. These guys die, so it doesn't really matter what their actions are. This guy is going to summon X normal spirits. So again, the math I couldn't do. 9 divided by 5 is 1.8, which means only 1 is summoned. And I'll double check that just to make sure I didn't screw anything up. Yeah, 1.8. So it's rounded down. So he only summons 1 guy. Now this makes life a lot better. So I think what I'm going to do, because I know these guys have an attack coming up for round 3, that is a +1, but they have to be 2 away to do it. So if I'm here, and they can only move 1. So if they move here or here, I'm not going to be within there. So that means I have to keep teleport to a hex with a shadow or adjacent to a shadow. And then now I've got to decide between these 2 cards. I really can't do enough damage to do much of anything. But the big trick is, for round 3, is staying away from the Doom guy. So he can actually move 4 this round. So if he moves 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right now, that space is going to hit me where I am. He can also move 1, 2, 3, 4. So I really don't want to move down anywhere, because honestly, he will hit me no matter where I go. So I think I'm safe this round if I just move 1. 1, 2. No, because the frost guy can hit me. Okay. So this is the tough part, because maybe I should have pushed him back upward. No, he could still get down there. Hmm. And of course, I can't. I can't shoot him because my range is only 2, but I can increase my range. Okay, I could use Anger of the Void. That might work. Okay. However, remove any number. Okay. So let's say that I discard Shadow Beast. I keep these two. Thankfully, it increases my range by 1 just by consuming 1 shadow. So if I was to do Anger of the Dead, I am going to go first, no matter what, for round 3. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to consume the shadow to give myself +2 attack and +1 range. So I can now hit at a 3 range. 1, 2, 3. And I'm now doing 4 damage. So it eats through his 2 shields and then does 2 damage, exactly enough to kill him. Whew. Okay. So now the funny thing is, at this point, I don't know what's going to happen. Teleport to a hex with a shadow or adjacent to a shadow. Or I could just move as far away from him as I can. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think I have to do that. I either move here or I move down, and moving down isn't going to make any difference. I mean, moving down is just is dangerous, whereas here, this is the only space in the whole board I can move right now where I will live. And we'll talk about the downside here in just a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then his attack whiffs because of the fact that he's not adjacent. Okay, so now I could do a long rest because I have 2 cards in my discard. I can do a long rest, but that effectively means I can't do anything. So I'm just going to take the next hit that's going to come, which is going to be 3 damage. And I can't really do anything else. This is interesting. I'm wondering if... So the last time I played the first puzzle, or when I played the first puzzle, I didn't... Some of the cards were from Gloomhaven and were kind of out of date. And I did notice from some of his emails, he did say that he made a mistake in a couple of them. So what I'm doing is I'm just looking at the emails, which don't have any spoilers. I'm looking at Frosthaven Update 3 because this will be the second. Sometimes he'll mention, oh, I made a mistake. Let's see. Nope, it does not look like there was a mistake. I was hoping there would be some mistake. Okay. So the interesting thing about this puzzle is the fact that I only have 4 cards, which means... And I only have, 5 hit points, and I'm poisoned. So that really means that I'm limited in terms of... if I cast any shadows at all, or if I play any lost abilities, I lose a card and then effectively have to long rest one of the turns. Maybe I can long rest the turn that maybe I can long rest the turn that they're not doing anything. So I guess I'll try that, and then we'll see how that works. Okay, so first action, once again, this is pretty easy. I've got to place 2 shadow tokens underneath them. I really wish there was a way that I could do something else to to block this first hit. Maybe part of this is to kind of throw you off guard because you know you're going to take 4 huge whopping points of damage. You don't want to, but oh my gosh. But it's kind of, it's one of those things where you take a hard hit right off the bat and it kind of, throws your game off. So I'm going to do the wounding on the bottom half of this card to wound these guys. Oh my gosh, how did that flip him up? Okay. Yeah, this one is tough. I agree. A lot harder. So then that means this next round I'm playing this for sure. Second round, I know these. Oh, I haven't done their actions yet. So first these guys move. This guy is going to move 1 away. He's going to take a wound, and then he's going to do 2 damage to me. This guy's got to move down 1, but then he's within range to attack. Oh, he takes his wound, and then he does another 2 damage to me. And then this guy, the big guy, is going to move 2. Yeah, let's say that. And then whiff his attack because he can't get close enough. So now, that was second round. So now this third round, I'm going to do a long rest because the living spirits are going to die, and he's going to summon these guys. I know but see, the downside is now I'm going to be relinquishing my ability to lower the number of spirits that come out, which is not good. But let's try it. Okay, so I'm going to do a long rest, which actually gets rid of the poison. Okay, so I can't do that till 99. So these guys go and they die. This guy summons X normal living spirits. They're going to go here right next to me. And then God, that doesn't even hurt him. Okay, so now I long rest. I lose the poison. I don't get any hit points back. And I pick a card to get rid of. See, this is the top of round 3, which means I'm wasting a turn. Oh, no, I didn't. This is the top of round 3. But I'm still going to have to do another long rest. How did that work out? I only get 2 cards back. And I'm doing this a round earlier, which kind of sucks. Yeah, I mean, these guys can kind of hit me wherever they go. So that's not necessarily any better. The weird thing is there's something about and this is always the part that's always fried my brain a little bit trying to think about this all the time, which is you have 4 cards, or you have a set number of cards, let's say 4. At the end of using all of those cards, if it's an even number, right? You're going to need to short rest or long rest. Then the next round after that. So if you have 4 cards, you're going to get to play 2 rounds. then you're going to short rest, and then you're going to have 3 cards. You're only going to get to play 1 round, and then you're going to rest, and then you're going to get 2 cards, and that lets you play 1 more round. So ideally, if you think about of the math of this, I only have 4 cards, and I should ideally, if I really just want to survive all 4 rounds, I need to not play a loss card. But the weird thing is that the Eclipse card is a loss card. I can't get it back. And so that changes everything that I could possibly do with the shadows. And these living spirits, because they're ranged, there's just nothing. There's just not really much that can be done with them. I'm just not going to do enough damage on my own to kill one of them, because I have to do 4 damage. And the only way I do 4 damage is if I cast a shadow, or I can do 4 to 6 damage. Um, Otherwise, I'm not going to. I can just push stuff around. I basically can't do enough damage. Now, if I summon the Shadow Beast, that protects me from like 1 hit, and it does 2 damage, but it's not going to kill anybody either. So then my only option, if I do burn a card, is that at some point I have to do a long or a short rest. I have to do a long rest early. Well, but early is not good because you'll mess up the length that you can go, the total endurance that you have, and so that becomes difficult as well. I assume that getting the shadows out of the way as early as possible would involve playing the shadow tokens right off the bat, but and okay, here's the other thing. I'm kind of metagaming because I'm assuming that Isaac wants you to try out the shadow tokens and see how they work. And so why would he create a puzzle without the shadow tokens being used? So therefore, I've got to get the shadow tokens out at some point, but maybe they don't come out right at the beginning. Um, but I'm kind of wondering, what could I possibly do to the shadows, to the living spirits, that would hinder them at all? If they're the only thing I could do is push them um, if I did an attack, but they're so close to me, and that first round they do get to move. They do get to move close enough to hit me, right? Um, and the living spirit. So let's say I use forceful spirits. I would be rolling this first attack. Not that it matters at this guy, and doing no damage because he's got 2 shields, and then that would push him back. He could still hit me from right where he is. I could hit this guy, except for the fact that my range is 2, so I can't hit him. Um, I need shadows to increase my range. I need shadows to increase my damage enough to be able to kill living spirits. The closest I ever got was when I got him down to 1, and that I got him down to 1 hit point, and then he could only summon 1 living spirit, and then I got stuck between the upper area and the lower area because he could move fast enough in turn 3, round 3, that he could hit me in the lower area, and the other guy could hit me in the upper area. So I was trapped between two places. So I don't know. It's interesting that I can't play more. I'm sure there are other cards that let you play more shadow tokens, um, but it is interesting. I don't know how to, like. I'm just not really sure what I would do if I'm not bringing shadow tokens out. Because even doing the basic attack is going to do no damage, right? Like, hmm. Yeah, this one is really tough. I'm not sure. So ideally, I mean, the thing is that I'm never going to do enough damage I'm definitely not going to do any damage to the Doom to kill him. I'm not. The only way I can kill one of the living spirits is if I consume a shadow to do extra damage and extra range. Um, I think I was close whenever I was doing the consuming of the shadows. But unfortunately, it's a top action, which means I have to wait till the next turn before I can use them for that. And then, of course, once I use them, I can't. I can't. I've only got 2. All right, we'll try this one more time. Um, I'm going to try a little something different. I'm going to do the same first action. Because I can't see anything to do if you're not playing shadow tokens. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to do this long rest thing at some point. And then your only options are wait till the end of the game, or wait till the third round and do a long rest the last action. Then it doesn't matter because you're not gonna get any cards back anyway, enough to do another action. Um, or to do a long rest early or a short rest, and then the purpose of that being that while they're not doing anything or dying, um, you're able to rest a little bit, get rid of that poison, but not that it matters, and get the cards back. But the problem was is when I did rest in the second action, I realized I'm a card short, so I'm resting too early. In this game, you really got to play the odds of stretching out your um, stretching out your cards, and resting early can be advantageous to get cards back you want, but you're also reducing that endurance. So that sucks. Okay, so these guys are wounded. These are lost cards. I've got these 2 cards left. I don't know why I didn't. Okay, so then obviously I'm going to play them. So here's the point where I have to decide if there's something I need to do besides. I mean, the bottom actions are so similar that I can do either one. Um, Probably. The only difference is that because I can teleport myself to a hex adjacent to a shadow, that gives forceful spirits a little bit more maneuverability. However, it also has the attack on it that I'm thinking about using. Um, oh, I forgot these guys. This guy moves over here to do his attack and takes a damage. This guy moves down here to do his attack, and I take 4. And then he moves 1, 2. I mean, do I have a choice? I think I do. If 2 things are equal, the players decide. So I'm going to move him all the way down there this time just to see if I can get a little range on these guys. I think I have a choice on that. Surely I have a choice on that. Okay. So now my question is beginning round 2, I do get to go before them. Okay. So I can use forceful spirits now. It's not going to do any damage at all. Oh, I can consume the darkness to do 1 damage. So now I'm going to use the push to push him back. I don't know why I'm thinking this is going to give me an advantage, but maybe it won't. We'll see. Okay. So I got rid of. I didn't use any lost cards, so these go into my discard. Oh, I forgot to use the second half of this card. Teleport to a hex with a shadow or adjacent to a shadow. So I'm going to try to go as far away as possible. Boom. Then his second round is summon a living spirit. Oh, these guys die. And then he summons only 1 living spirit. And it's going to be up here just to get as close as possible to me. Okay, so now we're at the beginning of round 3. This is where I have to decide what I'm keeping. And I know at this point I'm going to be I'm forced to do a long rest the last round. So this round, which is round 3, these guys can only move 1. So they're going to be way out of range no matter what, as long as I stay up there. The big guy is going to move really far. He's going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, but he can't hit me from there. Huh. I think I can get rid of this because I don't think I'm going to be attacking. Maybe I will attack. I don't know. Okay, so the big guy is going to be up here. Guy here. Maybe I can do this. Maybe. So I've got to keep this card because I need to do a big attack the last round. It doesn't really matter what I'm doing this third round because I'm mostly just avoiding as much as possible. I do want to keep the adjacent to a shadow, so I'm going to go ahead and lose this card. Okay, so we're at the top of round 3. I'm going first. But do I want to go first? Maybe I don't want to go first. All right, let's see. I think I'm going to try to go last, actually, or at least after the living spirits, since they can't get me now. So they move 1. I switched out a couple cards. Hopefully this works. They move movement -1, so only 1. Let's say since they're kind of equal distance. Oh, I definitely want to move him here, if I'm thinking right. Yeah. Technically, yeah, it's just as far 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I moved up here, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so it's equal distance, so I get to choose. Pretty sure that's the rule, right, guys? Anyway, okay. So we're at a good distance. Then now it's my turn. So I go before the big guy, but do I want to do that though? I wish I could go after the big guy, but I don't think I'm ever going to be able to no matter what cards I keep. Huh. Oh, okay. So let's say I do the old boom here, right? And then I do and that's just a movement or 2, 3. How much can he move with his boosted move for? So he can hit me no matter where if I go on the bottom. So I'm going to avoid the bottom. I'm going to go here. If I consume a shadow, then I can do an extra 1 range, which I need 3. And then I can do 4 damage, which kills him. But the question is my movement. Because at this point, I've got to long rest. But he still gets to move, so he moves 5. What if I... No. So the problem is the 4th round, if I do a long rest, he's got me. Because he can move 3. If I could have... I mean, I would have been willing to consume this shadow instead of that one if I could do 1 more action and then move down to this shadow here. I would have been out of range of him. But the problem is that even if I do a short rest or long rest or whatever, I can't get enough cards back to participate in round 4 if I call up the shadows. And let's say I kept them alive, or let's say I let this guy live, the new living spirit. Well, no, he's only going to do 2 attack. So the only other thing I'd thought of was doing this, so having him here. What if I was on top of the shadow to start with? Yeah, if I was on top of the shadow to start with, because I think I can be, because even if he moves 1, he would not have been able to attack me on round 3 or round 2. No, round 3. So I could stay here. And I went after him. So let's say I bring my summon out instead, which comes out on a shadow and consumes shadow. If I'm equidistance, then 2, 3. Okay, so we're equidistance. So this guy will attack this guy, and he'll kill him. But see, by this time, the last round, this guy will be up here. And he won't hit me 3rd round, but 4th round, he'll be able to hit me. So my summon could help me avoid the 1st attack, but not the 2nd. Or he could help me avoid the living spirit, but not the 2nd. See you later, Joe. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much it for me, too. I've got to think about this one a little bit more. I really don't. So part of the nice thing about the first puzzle is that the abilities of the characters are really easy to see, like, or in terms of the damage capability. So here I'm avoiding damage or trying to. Um, and I'm looking at the Deathwalker rules again. I don't have any movement of them, which would be interesting. Okay. Okay. So anyway, it's kind of interesting. I do think this is an interesting character, but I really am frustrated by the card abilities that I have. I really want more shadows, or I want shadows to be able to be put onto the board without losing a card. Um, and that's really become the most difficult part of this whole process, because it doesn't really matter when I lose Eclipse to put shadows on the board, and it's probably smarter to get them out early so they can kill the first two living spirits with wounds. Um, Maybe I'm just not placing them in the right place, and so I need to think about where I would place them because I can place them anywhere within three, and so maybe I need to think about where to place them. Um, but man, those two places are kind of ideal, just because simply they first off they wound the living spirits right where they are. Um, and then that takes care of those first two guys pretty quickly. And then after that, they're pretty convenient for jumping around enough to avoid most things. It's that third the third living spirit that comes out, um, and maybe fourth, that really throws a wrench in everything. And also because they have flying, right? They are also able to fly, and I can't rely on like the living doom having to like run around the bookcases. So I'll have to give this some thought. I promise, I'm not going to be looking at the review videos unless I can kind of figure this one out on my own. I'll probably take a look at it, and then we'll see what happens next week. In terms of, I'm still trying to work on Gloomhaven. I'm not going to be able to in the next couple weeks work on it very much, but there haven't really been any new updates or anything, so I'm not falling behind. I just need to keep leveling my characters and beat that second boss, which hopefully won't be too tough. Um, but while I'm doing that, this week I'll at least have some time to occasionally ruminate about this last puzzle, which is really tough. Try to figure out a way that I can do this. I wish that I could recast shadows a couple of times at least, so I could possibly knock this big guy down at the end. But I don't. I mean, I can get off one big hit once, or maybe two medium hits of four, and then that would even be a bigger waste because four of them would be canceled instead of two. But anyway, that's all we've got for tonight. Sorry I couldn't be more victorious. This is a tough puzzle for sure in terms of what I can possibly do. We'll see. Um, placing placing shadows is going to be tough. Figuring out where the best places to place these might be the downfall of me. All right, guys. Well, don't forget to tune into our stream on Saturday. We're playing through Imperial Assault. We just got through a pretty grueling first mission, and now we're going to be buying equipment, getting geared up, and heading out to our new mission. So check us out then. And I'll be back here next Tuesday trying to figure this stupid puzzle out. At some point, I may just give up and either get a hint or something like that. See if I can get a hint. It'd be nice, right? Um, all right. But until then, you guys have a good week, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye.